The world is changing faster than ever. Don't just watch the fires, understand the spark. In a blaze of fire and fury that has sent shockwaves through the corridors of power in Moscow, Ukraine, has unleashed a relentless wave of precision strikes on Russia's critical energy infrastructure, turning what was once considered untouchable into a battlefield of flames and failure. Spectacular footage captured the apocalyptic scenes at the oil ports of Primorsk and Ust-Luga in Russia's Leningrad Oblast, where massive fires erupted with such intensity that they dominated international headlines and lit up the night sky like a warning signal of impending collapse for the Kremlin's war efforts. Satellite imagery later verified the catastrophic damage, revealing twisted metal-destroyed storage tanks and plumes of smoke that stretched for miles, proving beyond any doubt that these hits were no accident but calculated strikes aimed straight at the heart of Russia's military funding machine. These assaults have delivered a hammer blow not just to Russia's wallet, but to its very ability to sustain the brutal invasion of Ukraine, forcing the aggressor's forces into a desperate scramble as their supply lines for fuel and lubricants begin to crumble under the weight of Ukrainian ingenuity and determination. As the conflict surges into a new and explosive phase with every heartbeat of the battlefield, Ukraine has stunned the world once again by zeroing in on high-value targets deep behind enemy lines, launching audacious long-range drone operations that have left Russia reeling in disbelief. Picture this sleek Ukrainian drone slicing through the night sky, covering an astonishing 1,400 kilometers into the very heart of Russian territory, evading wave after wave of frantic air defenses in a display of tactical brilliance and raw courage that feels like something ripped straight from a high-stakes thriller. The Kirish-Nefteorg-Zintez refinery, codenamed KINEF, in the city of Kirishi, Leningrad Oblast, and the mighty Yaroslavl-Nefteorg-Zintez facility, known as YANOS, in the city of Yaroslavl, have both been hammered with devastating precision. These industrial behemoths sit roughly 700 kilometers from the nearest Ukrainian border, yet Kyiv's forces have proven they can strike with surgical accuracy, bypassing layered Russian radar nets and missile batteries in operations that scream technological superiority and unbreakable resolve. Russia maintains at least 50 refineries scattered across its sprawling empire, a testament to the colossal scale of its oil machine. But KINEF ranks as the second largest and YANOS the fourth, each churning out hundreds of thousands of barrels every single day. Their combined output exceeds 680,000 barrels daily, meaning the sudden shutdown has paralyzed more than 10% of Russia's entire refining capacity, roughly 6.5 to 6.6 million barrels per day, vanishing in a single thunderous blow that has Moscow scrambling for answers. You can almost feel the panic rippling through the Kremlin as these late March assaults have left both giants completely offline, with no restart in sight even after nearly a week of desperate repair attempts. The timing could not be more catastrophic for Vladimir Putin, whose war machine is already staggering under the weight of these coordinated Ukrainian masterstrokes. Global oil prices have rocketed skyward after Iran sealed the Straits of Hormuz in retaliation to U.S. and Israeli actions, choking off 20% of the world's oil flow and unleashing what analysts are branding one of the most brutal supply shocks in modern history. In a jaw-dropping twist of irony, the United States has been forced to temporarily lift sanctions on Russian and Iranian crude just to keep markets from total meltdown. Yet Putin's dreams of flooding the world with his oil at triple the price have been obliterated by Ukraine's unrelenting pressure. Instead of banking billions, Russia is bleeding $50 to $100 million every 24 hours from the combined refinery and export hub, strikes a financial hemorrhage that is choking the aggressor's ability to fund its brutal campaign. But the real nightmare for the Kremlin runs far deeper than dollars and cents. It strikes straight into the mechanical lifeblood of its armed forces. These refineries are not ordinary fuel factories. They are the exclusive producers of specialized industrial oils and military-grade fuels, now sitting in critically short supply, threatening to grind tanks, jets, and ships to a literal halt. Compounding the crisis, the Lukoil-operated Volgograd refinery has endured 9 separate Ukrainian hammer blows, each one more punishing than the last. This powerhouse outputting 280,000 to 300,000 barrels daily and accounting for 5% of national capacity, specializes in deep refining that delivers not just standard diesel and gasoline, but the vital aviation kerosene, fuel oil, bitumen, and lubricants that keep fighter jets screaming through the skies and armored columns thundering across contested ground. The latest strike on the evening of February 11th ripped into a key crude distillation unit handling 40% of its capacity, triggering a full shutdown that still shows no signs of reversal as March fades. You can practically hear the frustration boiling over in Moscow as these once mighty facilities, the very engines keeping Russian air power aloft, and ground forces mobile site dark and silent, haunted by the relentless shadow of Ukrainian drone swarms that Russian defenses have proven utterly powerless to stop. The details of what these refineries produce paint an even more alarming picture for Russia's battlefield sustainability. KINEF, with its vast array of nearly 80 distinct products, serves as a cornerstone for everything from everyday motor gasolines and diesel fuels to jet fuel varieties that power both civilian airliners and combat aircraft. It manufactures virtually all grades of jet fuel required by the Russian Air Force, including the widely used TS-1 type, which offers superior cold weather performance with a freezing point low enough to handle extreme conditions down to minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Then there is the advanced RT grade, a hydro-treated super fuel ideal for supersonic fighters like the Su-30, where fuel temperatures spike during high-speed maneuvers. Without these Russian pilots face grounded squadrons and canceled missions, a scenario that grows more likely with each day KINEF stays dark. The refinery also stands alone in producing specific marine fuel oils like F5 and F12, the lifeblood for powering massive naval vessels such as the steam-driven aircraft carrier Admiral Kuznetsov and the Sovremeny-class destroyers that form the backbone of Russia's fleet. Every hour without output from this plant pushes the Russian Navy closer to immobilization, amplifying the strategic nightmare unfolding from Ukraine's targeted campaign. Yet the strikes on YANOS may prove even more crippling in the long run, given its role as the primary supplier for Russia's central federal district, including Moscow itself, and its direct pipeline to the Ministry of Defense. This strategic powerhouse processes 15 million tons of oil annually and leads the nation in creating specialized oils and lubricants that keep the entire spectrum of Russian military hardware operational. It produces the exclusive Arctic diesel fuel engineered to function without additives down to minus 85 degrees Fahrenheit through advanced iso-dewaxing techniques, making it indispensable for operations in the harshest environments. Beyond that, YANOS churns out turbine oils, compressor fluids, transmission lubricants, and industrial grades used across an astonishing range of equipment from the engines and transmissions of T90M, T72, B3M, and T62 main battle tanks, to the full lineup of armored vehicles and personnel carriers that Russia relies on for its ground offensives. Heavy multi-axle Platforma O transporters, which haul strategic missile systems along with KAM-AZ and Ural trucks, engineering vehicles and special purpose machinery all depend on these products. The refinery also supplies gearbox oils for My and KOS series, attack helicopters, turboprop engines on two 95 MS strategic bombers, and hydraulic systems for Buk-Tor and Panzer air defense batteries, not to mention gas turbine lubricants for naval ships. As Russian tanks and armored units push forward in Ukraine's contested zones, the absence of these lubricants risks turning powerful machines into immobile scrap, their engines seizing and tracks grinding uselessly in the spring thaw. Picture the chaos on the battlefield right now as these shortages bite harder with each passing hour. Ukrainian drone swarms have repeatedly penetrated Russian airspace in high-risk missions, evading frantic intercepts by surface to air missiles and fighter patrols to deliver payloads that ignite massive fires and cripple key processing units. In the March 26th assault on KINEF, Ukrainian operators guided their unmanned aircraft straight into the heart of the facility, striking the ELOUAVT. 4 and ELOUAVT. 6. Distillation units and triggering blazes that consumed storage areas and gas fractionation equipment. Russian officials scrambled to downplay the damage, claiming air defenses had intercepted most threats, and that only debris caused minor fires. Yet independent reports confirmed a full production halt across nearly 40% of the plant's capacity, with repairs that could stretch into weeks or longer. This marked the sixth time Ukrainian forces had targeted KINEF. Following earlier hits in March, September, and October of the previous year, where similar patterns emerged, drones approaching in waves, defenses firing wildly into the night, and fires erupting despite Kremlin boasts of total protection. The same relentless pressure has defined the YANOS campaign, with the March 28th strike marking the second major blow after an initial December assault that took out a third of its capacity. Ukrainian precision has turned these repeated attacks into a war of attrition where cumulative damage piles up faster than Russia can repair, forcing Moscow to divert precious air defense assets from the front lines to guard interior targets and even mobilizing reservists in a desperate bid to plug the gaps. The broader consequences ripple across the entire Russian war effort, slowing their spring offensive in occupied Ukrainian territories and disrupting fuel supplies to frontline units already struggling under intense pressure. These kinetic sanctions, as Ukrainian strategists aptly describe them, have disabled between 15 and 40% of Russia's refining capacity at various points, compelling Moscow to slash exports, dip into strategic reserves, and watch domestic fuel prices climb amid growing public unease. Putin's air defenses, once touted as impenetrable, are now stretched thin, leaving battlefield systems like the Panzer vulnerable to Ukrainian counterstrikes and exposing ground forces to greater risks. Tanks that once rolled forward with confidence now face the specter of mechanical failure without proper lubrication, their crews forced to improvise in ways that undermine combat effectiveness and morale. Fighter jets sit idle on runways, naval vessels remain docked, and even the nuclear triad feels the strain with two 95 MS bombers, unable to maintain readiness for their deadly cruise missile loads and Platforma O launchers for the RS. 24 Yars missiles, potentially sidelined if transport systems seize up. Ukraine's forces have exploited this vulnerability, masterfully coordinating strikes not only on refineries, but on nearby targets like Pulkovo Airport in St. Petersburg, which halted flights amid the chaos, and the Novatek gas complex at Ust-Luga port just days earlier, showcasing a level of operational synergy that leaves Russia perpetually on the defensive. What do you think about the sheer audacity of these Ukrainian drone campaigns, pushing so deep into Russian territory and hitting targets that directly throttle the aggressor's ability to wage war? Does this level of precision and persistence signal that the tide is truly turning in favor of the defenders fighting for their homeland? Die kumulierte Wirkung dieser Angriffe zwingt Russland in eine defensive Haltung. Ressourcen werden von der Front abgezogen, während die Ukraine Zeit gewinnt, Kräfte zu bündeln und Gegenoffensiven vorzubereiten. Zwar können riesige Anlagen wie YANOS nicht mit einem Schlag zerstört werden, doch Kyivs Strategie aus permanentem Druck sorgt dafür, dass Reparaturen dem Schaden hinterherlaufen. Brände, Ausfälle und Einnahmeverluste entlarven die Verwundbarkeit von Putins ölbasierter Kriegswirtschaft. Gleichzeitig wächst internationaler Druck, diese Angriffe zu dämpfen, da die globale Ölversorgung durch die Hormuz-Krise angespannt bleibt. Dennoch bleibt die Logik klar. Wer Treibstoff und Schmierstoffe trifft, lähmt die Kriegsmaschine. Selbst bei einer Pause stehen neue Taktiken bereit. Russlands Militär wirkt zunehmend ausgehöhlt, während die Ukraine ihre Initiative behauptet. Werden diese Kläge Moskau zum Umdenken zwingen oder eskaliert der Konflikt weiter? Click subscribe now. Don't miss a single moment of this historic journey. Your time is valuable. We promise analyses as sharp as reality itself. Stay vigilant, stay informed. We'll see you in the next video. Disclaimer. This video contains content generated or supported in whole or in part by artificial intelligence. This material is intended solely for simulation, illustration, and entertainment purposes. It does not represent real-world events, nor does it constitute political or military advice or verified information. Certain elements may be fictional, dramatized, or inaccurate. Viewers should not rely on this video as a credible source of information or as a basis for real-world decision-making.